together this past week or during this whole process?
Yeah, I think it's really cool because it started 9 years ago. We started together. I was a scouting assistant the year before. RJ followed up right after. We had an incredible relationship. We both have our expertise. We both have done a lot of different things, but we have an incredible amount of respect for each other. And it's made this whole process very easy.
And RJ, how has your kind of process changed, or your job description as it pertains to the draft?
Yeah, I think for both of us, it was just more in a official capacity. Tariq helping out, fresh perspective on free agency this year, and a quote unquote official capacity, and then myself on the draft side. In previous years, I had done some bottom of the board projects and helped out with the undrafted process, but this year it was just more officially being involved in all the meetings leading up to the draft.
Yeah, he watches every guy every single week. So it's like you said, just a little more official now.
John addressed this a little bit, but I'm curious whether the number of transfers that you guys had and the whole new landscape in college football, does having that extra year at a different program give you more to look at and more information to sort of glean what?
Yeah, it's become more normal, right? It's common now, and it does give us more data points, information to gather. Obviously, we have to be more organized to get information from the previous stops, but we have a great scouting department that hits everywhere during the fall multiple times, so we get all that information. So there's a good line of information that we can evaluate.
Yeah, the cool thing about that is you get a bunch of different perspectives and opinions on that player just from playing from different staffs, and you can probably, or for the most part, you can get a better feel for their ability to learn new schemes and get comfortable in different positions. So it's ultimately positive.
Defensive end was a spot that you guys were really proactive in attacking in free agency. It seemed like the draft was sort of tricky at that position. Was that something you saw, and is that why you attacked it that way?
Yeah, I think with how we saw the board developing and going into the draft and into draft meetings, that where we were picking, there were gaps in the board at that position. So that was a position that we decided to attack pretty aggressively in free agency.
For years, we've communicated during the fall, talk about the landscape of college football. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? Where we do reports during the middle of the season, end of season, and then after each set of meetings and compare to past drafts. So we can communicate and say, all right, it's strong very here. The top four are very strong this year, but then like RJ said, there's a gap right after that. So we try to be on top of that.
Is there any one of these guys that you picked, any one of these eight guys you drafted that you did extra work on, or kind of were hiding in the weeds a little bit more?
I think it's very hard to hide guys, right? Like everyone gets a lot of publicity early on when they're in college. So I wouldn't say there's anyone that we hid, but like you guys know, we love bringing guys in on 30 visits, gathering more information, getting conviction. That's a word that you'll hear a lot about us, conviction guys. So we do feel like we were able to successfully draft a lot of our conviction prospects.
How many gold helmet guys did you end up with?
That's a good question. I didn't check yet.
Multiple,
I hope so.
Yeah.
You guys picked a couple of offensive linemen who played several spots in college. How do you see those two starting out here?
They'll likely start out inside, but the key thing is versatility and the ability to play multiple positions, and they've proven it on tape, and they've done it at a high level. So we know that going into camp that we'll be able to move them around and shuffle and kind of cross-train them and see ultimately what's the best for them and us.
Is center a possibility for both, either of those guys?
I would say either. Pooney has done it, did it down in the Senior Bowl. So yeah, either one, and we'll continue to cross-train those guys.
That's something that John mentioned on Monday before the draft, was versatility in offensive linemen. Is that something that has become a trait that's more common in linemen, or is that something that you were looking for specifically this year?
It's definitely something we look for, and we look for it every single year. That gives us flexibility at the other positions or the other offensive line spots on game day, and to train them in different areas. So it's something we always look for.
Yeah, I've been taking a pure tackle very often this team has, and didn't take one this year. Is it really specific, formula they give you about what they need in this offense, or is it just harder to spot like a tackle in this college? Why do you think there haven't been many tackles drafted?
Yeah, good question. I think there's not a lot of people that have the skill set to play tackle, so it reduces the pool, and also they typically go pretty early. So there's obviously a lot that we like early on in the draft, but then we are very selective of those guys. But it is something we would love to take throughout the draft if the right person was available.
Garindo has obviously intriguing qualities, size and speed, being among them. But I know there were injuries at Wisconsin or whatever. But when you see a guy like that, but he only has one college start, what went into that?
Yeah, a lot of those injuries were earlier in his career.
Yeah.
And then we did extensive background on him, talking to the previous past coaches at Wisconsin, and we received consensus feedback that he was our type of guy, that he would be a perfect fit for our culture here. So we felt very comfortable there. And then we used our eyes to evaluate the talent and the speed, the explosiveness, the strength that he has in his body. We felt that they fit us.
Couple more, unless you're good. All right.
Hey, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Great